Welcome back, each and every one of you, to another fancy time where we can enjoy a feast or two. As long as you don't question too much where the food is sourced from. But with the past, well, considering there's only 4 episodes left of this season, and we are speedrunning getting to know this new character and their placement and position in the group, I'm expecting some good things. And as we've seen in the past episodes, Chilchuck really being the best fit for the new arrival, considering the kind of mutual understanding and distrust of one another. I'm pretty sure each and every one of us can agree that the best basis for a friendship is a reciprocal amount of insults. But the dungeon itself still a mystery. The rogue lunatic magician out here causing all sorts of trouble, taking Now's sister and keeping her half griffin. Are we gearing up for, well, a really bad family reunion, but also a solution that isn't exactly kind to all parties? You're gonna have to find out. So, strap yourself in and get a drink, so that we can see what's on the menu today. I don't really have a lot to mention during these opening segments, because I just end up fallbacking on the usual bollocks that I spew about just enjoying the world and how it's all laid out for us. But I think equally as interesting to me is the bits that are left unsaid. The mystery, the fact that the dungeon itself was its own kingdom before magic erupted and took over. Hence why black magic is kind of frowned upon throughout this entire world. Are we going to see the elves at any point? You know, they were mentioned, 10 episodes ago, and yet we only got a couple left, and they're painfully absent. And I really do appreciate whenever a show changes itself or updates to include new arrivals, like it did with having her in the group. Oh, so it needs a closed room in order to use the spell. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, say what is needed, but don't give more information is necessary. If it's a big ship, you were told not to touch the window. It's fairly less like ordained in gold than I was imagining. Ah, canaries in the dungeon. Yeah, having a dungeon dwelling team labeled the Canaries, they know the danger that they're getting in. I mean, if anyone knows any of the history about miners and caves and whatnot, you understand why. So they will be running rings around him. Let's hope their prospects for the mayor and whatnot are severely underestimating him. It would be interesting to have that flip. It's been 48 hours. So, can you just interrupt a meeting like this? I mean, sure, they have some pressing information that may help, but... Were they killed by the monsters or by the cleanup crew? But considering what you said about the elves, they see everyone else as just mere infants, so should they be allowed to have power? They don't know how to use it properly. Looks a little dishevelled. They're definitely not holding his own in this meeting. I mean, if it's some important information here, they would be wise to at least heed it. It's advancing. What? So them trying to help in the negotiations just seem to speed up the acquisition. Yeah, he's given up. Considering the longevity they have. Yeah. That is a dangerous line of thinking. If only I had more power. How many good intentions has been led astray by that kind of thinking? I think anyone that delves into the dungeons themselves are on some sort of spectrum of weird. Granted, this is flashbacks and whatnot, but the fact they are overspilling boundaries of paintings for it all brings back some issues. Yeah, but probably not as the hero of the tale. He's got a one-track mind, and that's both a blessing and a curse. He can't be easily led astray unless it's for a good meal. And while he's had this moment of introspection, they've already gone through with the plans and whatnot. True. Is he going to use an analogy here? Or are they saying sending more lives down there is only going to expedite the circumstance? So now he has an in with them, considering that they've heard of him, at least. Is he going... Are the waterworks going to work on them? They're like family. One of them has a rather level head, not got swayed away in the reminiscing of people. Oh, There was some elves that died, okay. Huh. You don't want to just throw good men and women away like that. Fed into the meat grinder of battle. I like the fairy's just like, you called me here, but what am I doing? Well, he's got some sort of got some sort of plan. Also, I seem to recognize this voice. I feel like they're not very approachable. The fairy might have to lodge a complaint with HR. So does... Huh. Okay, so using the analogy, the metaphor of the egg for the souls, is there a cooking technique to help separate it out? It's not quite as rigid as you would think. So is he trying to say there is a liquid core of the soul still residing within that beast, which could be drawn out? Huh. She's been hanging out with this group for too long. Soul Eggs Benedict. There's nothing other than the conversation which made it soul, but sure. Are we still having to teach some of them how to use specific utensils? I like that. The fact that you got a beastman whose senses are a little heightened. Much like a cat just staring out into the corner of the room at nothing. What you're seeing. Yeah, probably a good idea to tell them about it. I mean, he wouldn't be particularly wrong. And they have a solid form and they're whispering ideas into his head. But is he actually listening to what they're saying? You've just been ignoring me, you bastard! Yeah, you don't want to upset the ghost who can follow you through walls. I mean, he might need a bit of moisturizer, but I wouldn't say evil. Yeah, he might need some medical treatment. Pulled her through the hole as serendipitous meeting of minds. Are they are they quite as visible as this spirit? Why is Itsumi being separated off from the others? Or are they getting their own personal meeting, each of them? thought there was going to be a like Death Stranding has found his way onto the beach kind of thing. Either this is a view of the top world, or a view of the palace and kingdom before it fell. Outside? Quick, put on these disguises and follow. Oh, I like this. If this is this is actually what the dungeon looked like before it became the dungeon, and why there's monsters roaming around. They were originally living here and denizens of this place, but or maybe due to the curse and how it was given to them, connected to the dungeon. Okay. Interesting that we're getting two sides of a delegation and meeting. We've got the elves up in the real world, and now this. Them. Either they know of them, or it's kind of prophesized. It would be interesting, though, if it's, the spirit guy that he's been talking to is just an ordinary villager like here, so they see themselves like this. That'd be an interesting way of viewing the afterlife kind of thing. Is it... Can he... take any... Quite a few buckets of milk you can get from that! But, quite a few agricultural lessons they're going to learn from this place. But it does seem like Itsumi is devolving back into much more feral, or at least beast-like state. Replicate our lifestyle from above ground. Is she able to at least converse? Lost ability to talk? But, yeah, with only so many people to go around. Oh no, my headphones! So, having just a dress-up party, the fact that Laos and Senshi are learning ways of fashion. I joined two conversations in my head. Learning the ways of farming and whatnot in fur everywhere. Are they going to learn any good ways of getting nutrition upon the dungeon? While Marcel is having questionable fashion choices. And Chilchuk's just having the time of his life. He'll try that next. What about some whiskey? Got any good fermentation tanks? Good for you. Yep, but don't tell me about it. It's a dream come true. A dryad farm. I'm not going to question how that looks. Maybe Chilchok's version of what they looked like back when there was, the illusions were correct. You best not question the... Well, red was definitely the colour of choice, wasn't it? But One of them is all right there, but still. What's that bug? Is that a... Yeah, good question. Not going to say that she looks nice or anything. No, that wasn't anything. Okay. I don't think it's the fact that she brushed him away. Did he come to a realization here just from that? Layers upon layers of magic. If this is the dungeon, the realm that the king tried to escape because life became monotonous, just having the same thing stuck in time. I mean, if this is what the magician is trying to keep hold of, makes sense. It does seem quite idyllic on the surface. Yard. It sounds like we've heard that name before. Where could it have been? Actual food or actual food? Cool. So we're not playing pretend. As your group specifically suggested. Who could that have been? We don't eat at all. I mean, saying a... They don't get hungry, they have no sense of taste, they can brew alcohol but can't enjoy it, I'm guessing. So every part of their life has just become routine. Prolonging an existence just to exist. Huh. Does that mean they are de facto immortal without their say-so, without their willingness? That's when he went on an adventure. Headed out. I mean, he's fertilizing the plants around the entrance. Is the idea of his suffering, there you go, is the idea of just turning to dust given them a hope and a way out? Ah, like the spirits he's been talking to. Yep, beating the shit out of them and making dessert. It was a prophecy. A winged sword. Did it say anything about this winged sword being a little wiggly in places? Yeah, I did notice the statuettes on the side. Huh. This line, why was it imprisoned like that? Something tells me he's not too entranced by this prophecy. Becoming the ruler isn't something that he's aiming for. Just a good meal and rescuing his sister. Is Kensuke still alive? It doesn't seem to be wiggling about despite what seems to be quite obvious danger in my eyes. This is all too heavenly and nice. Senshi's lying in his bed like I do most days. Well, if they haven't been able to taste it for centuries, they don't know much about seasoning or anything. Everything is the bare minimum. Have something to do. Oh, it was millennium. Yeah, were we told how many years they've actually been in this perpetual hell? I mean, there are plenty of people saying, being immortal, having the ability to just live forever. You'd go insane after a while, seeing everyone pass away before your eyes, just as was being shown here. A life of boredom and monotony. I don't think I'll be doing too badly. As long as Steam stays active. Once those servers shut down, I'm shit out of luck. He's now, actively taking that idea and prophecy on to heart? Didn't the mother brood of the living statues, the armor, also have a lion helmet? It seems the dungeon seems to be molding itself upon that symbol. Trying to think where else we've seen it. Is it because we've shown that it's like the one that's been held prisoner and is making prophecies for the dreamer of the dungeon or whatever? Do you think that's like the core? Where the dungeon grew from? If the lion is no more, there's no dungeon. But yeah, I like the idea of the dungeon being a kind of purgatory for the inhabitants. The fact that lunatic magician created this world to keep the kingdom in its heyday before it seemingly fell to ruin or whatever, and spurred on the magician's use of black magic and trying to prolong its survival. But it just becoming kind of like a dream state. They're sleepwalking through life that they have been given. And while, yes, they are not entirely confined and told you have to stay here, they can wander out into the dungeon. It's not really advised. If they lose their sense of self, their flesh bodies and become wandering spirits. But if they themselves are immortal and live forever, but yet they still grow crops, they don't eat, what do they just have a pit that they dump all of the excess produce in? And what about the monsters? Are they also immortal? Or are they continuously cycled out I don't think that's really an answer that I need, but I would like to know how this place functions and runs. Considering that they've got working textiles and tailors in order to make these fancy dresses and whatnot. I do like the small little visual gags, like with Izumi putting fur all over Masao's galaxy, whatever the fuck the outfit that was. And considering that Laos himself has been within the paintings, the world within a world, the history of the kingdom, is he going to sense that something is amiss here, or doesn't quite line up with what he saw, or considering he's the prophesized one, is he going to be the catalyst to point something out here? Or is, Masao's lust for learning and magic just going to bring it all crashing down? That'd be amusing. It's nice seeing their newly gained Beastman party member being a little more passive, not so angsty all the time, but it's so off character. It feels odd. I guess the biggest question is, how long before Senshi starts up a cooking masterclass for them all, considering they seem to have lost the ability to even do simple seasoning? I don't think it's the ingredients themselves which are so lackluster and detracted. That could be a case. It's just imitations of imitations of imitations of ingredients, so we can't really get the taste correct. Or it's just, bad use of local produce. We'll have to see for the next episode. So, if you have been prophesied by the universe to uphold the law and realms of a kingdom, you wouldn't be watching this video, really. So, for everyone else left, if I've entertained you, consider leaving a like down below, maybe a comment on what you would do if you had eternal vigor. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out future episodes. Join to my Discord for much the same, but also potential votes for upcoming series. And I'm going to maintain my youthful appearance by going to bed. So, get yourselves a bit of rest. I'll see you for the next one.